Okay, y'all know I'm back. My name is Michael Randolph, and I'm with the Center for Nonprofit and Community Development. We provide technical assistance to nonprofits from around the country in terms of building their capacity to service their people. You saw me yesterday, we was in Chicago. Today we're back here. We talked to a new nonprofit that's getting started. I want to introduce her. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your name, your organization, what you do, and why you got started.
Well, my name is Christie Rankins. The name of my nonprofit is Redress Lives and Logistics, and I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. And the reason why I got started was all of my degrees are in criminal justice. And I didn't go into that field in the capacity that I thought I would. I actually wound up in food service in a RYAC, which is a regional youth detention center. And you see the kids and they leave and it's like, okay, I know you don't want to stay. I know you're happy about leaving, but then they would come back. And I'm like, okay, why would they come back? So some of the kids say, hey, it's less of a burden on their parents because their mom had other kids. And the one little boy was like, hey, I don't know. My mom just can't fully take care of me. I'm just too much of a hassle. So I said, there's definitely a gap in between the parents and the kids. And then with the women that are coming out of incarceration, which is what we are concentrating on, we're noticing that there's a gap too, because they're finding themselves right back in the situations that, put them behind bars to start with. So we want to bridge that gap by providing workforce development, therapy, housing assistance, medical assistance. So we want to help these ladies to acquire their Class B CDL, which, puts them in the employment range because right now the transportation field is booming. And as a Class B CDL holder, we always know that the men dominate that field. So, we need more women. Plus, at this point in time, we definitely need more school bus drivers. So I always tell people when I'm explaining this, I say, as a mom, when you leave, the kids go with you. And in the afternoons, they're back home with you. So that means the kids know where the mom is and the mom know where the kids are and y'all are back at home safely together.
So where are you?
I am in Atlanta.
Okay, so your program we ran out in Atlanta, Georgia?
Yes, sir. I'm hoping to branch to Houston.
Good. Nonprofits to do exactly what you want to do, to start in one state and then to go national.
Yes, I want to go to Phoenix too, because I've been networking back and forth with some other people, and they were like, "Hey, you need to come to Phoenix because we need these services." And I'm like, "Oh Lord, let me start small and then get big once everything gets together." And Mr. Randolph get me on the right track.
So tell me, what is the climate in Atlanta, Georgia? Is it a high crime? Is it a lot of violence? Give folks that's not familiar with your part of the world a real picture of the real problem, since you're talking about the real solutions.
The problem is, one, I'm not from Georgia, but I've been here since '04, but the crime rate has been rising a lot. And that's what I was telling people. I said, you see the moms, like I said, you see the dads, but 9 times out of 10, the dads aren't in the picture. So it's up to the moms to try to make do and do whatever they feel is necessary to take care of their households. Sometimes that lands you into some situations that you don't want to be in. And then it lands you behind bars and then you don't have custody of your kids. And while you're incarcerated, one, either you don't have your GED, and while you're there, it'd be nice if you did go ahead and acquire that, or two, you're coming out without the functionality that you need, because you went in one way, you can't expect to come out that same way because there's been nothing that's been input into you to make you feel like, hey, I can come out here and still survive. So if you have that same mindset as you did going in, it's coming out, you're going to land yourself right back in there. So we're hoping to get these women, some life skills set, so to tell them that, hey, one thing I always say, Mr. Randolph, is everybody has a story. Yes. You just have to be willing to tell your true story, not the stuff where you want to paint it up and make everything be strictly color line and we're looking at colors of the rainbow, because that's just not how things are. You have to be willing to tell the truth and the honest to God truth.
Did you know that the fastest growing population of offenders are, and I'm gonna let you plug in the question, what's the largest number, the largest number of new offenders?
I would say it is women. I mean,
Right? It's
81,
female.
81% of the women that are incarcerated, they are mothers.
This is historic. It used to be the largest number, with fastest growing would be first men and then juveniles.
Mhm.
But now it's females, and a lot of these
Correct.
females have kids.
Correct. And my thing is, it's not just people you assume it's just people that are on welfare. I was talking to this one lady and she was saying her sister was a doctor. I think she hurt her back and she wound up being dependent on the medication that they gave her, which landed her behind bars. So it's not just women out here that don't necessarily have the backing. It's just, I mean, thing is, anyone can wind up in that same situation. So to me, it
one
doesn't.
thing we want to do to expand on what you're doing is to make sure we include housing, because they need housing. So we're
Correct. That's exactly what I said. We'll help them with getting housing assistance. I actually want to, once we get fully started, of course, we have to reach those women 6 months before they are released.
Yes.
So we'll bring them into our facility, which I want to get a house to house them in. So that way you can do in-house therapy. You can do one-on-one and you can do group therapy, which helps you, because my thing is I don't feel comfortable putting you behind a commercial vehicle and your mindset is not where it needs to be at that time. So provide you with therapy will help you get set up with your healthcare, because a lot of people, like I said, you're coming in, you're not knowing that you're dealing with some other issues that are keeping you from being fully functional, i.e. you may have some mental illness that has not been diagnosed.
Exactly. We call it holistic, comprehensive approach.
Yes,
so
you got to cover all the basics. Try to help them. I know I was telling my aunt, she's like, I should get on the housing list. I said, ma'am, the housing list in Georgia, you got to wait for that list to open. So the housing authority is not necessarily the option. You may have to find housing that's a little bit affordable. But my thing is, what's a little affordable at this time in Atlanta? Things are crazy. My daughter was paying $1,500 for a 2-bedroom apartment in Conyers. And I'm just like, who can afford that?
Crazy.
Who really can afford that? So we're going to bridge that gap, try to get them to some type of housing. So they'll be with me for 6 months. That allows you to be fully functional, that allows you to have acquired your CDL license, and it also allows you to already have employment, because I'm also a freight broker. So my plan is to what I've been doing is I just got a new 9-to-5. That's because I'm going to need that money to lease these box trucks. So my thing is, you get your CDL, you drive the box trucks for me 9 times out of 10.
Yes.
You're going to be on probation or parole, which means you will not leave the state of Georgia. So with that happening, you can always drive within the state, and that way you already know you have employment. And that way, my thing is 6 months should give you enough time for you to be fully functional. And with our assistance with helping you secure affordable, safe housing, you got to put that safe word in it, because everywhere is not safe at this point in time. So we can't put you back into the community with which you found yourself in these unforeseen circumstances. We got to be able to put you somewhere where you're least likely to want to go back to where you were. And we're praying that you don't go back to that way, because we're praying that we reach you mentally where you are. So you got to be able to reach people where they are and bring them up and help them understand that, hey, you're a lot better than these things. We see that you are here, and we're going to help you get there so that you can be fully functional.
Well, you convinced me. Now the next question is, and this is going to be going around the nation when I put this, when I post this.
Okay.
If somebody like you, if somebody like me believe what you're doing is good, and they want to put some money up, how can they give a donation to your organization? Is it an email, or how can they contact you? How can they get in contact with you to give donations?
Okay, so you can contact me via email or phone. I can be reached via email at Christie, CHRISTIE, at TEC squared, SQUARED, LLC.com, or simply just call me. I answer my phone.
Hold up. No, don't give the phone number. I forgot. We online. You can get all kind of crazy calls, right?
I'll put it in the chat for you, Mr. Randolph.
Email will be good, right? Definitely, email will be good. And then once you got your website up and all like that, then, they can go directly to your webpage and get funding like that. But for right now, as you can see the email that just came up, this is her email. Give this lady some money. We're going to be working with her to take it from the startup all the way to operation. So thank you for giving me an opportunity to work with you. So like you and so many other nonprofits can change the world.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Randolph. I appreciate you because I attended your webinar some years ago. This is while I was working in the RYDC. So it's like, okay, everything's coming back full circle. I'm like, hold on, I know I remember this man. Let me figure out where I pinned this information at. And there you were on LinkedIn. I said, oh, that's him. I said, I need to talk to Mr. Randolph.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
All right, well, thank you very much.